I woke up just a little bit ago. I'm sitting here having my second coffee and just, I like to welcome the dawn. I mean, my my high priestess name is Queen Light of the Sun, so yeah, I love watching the sunrise. I love hearing the birds wake up and stuff. So I'm a bit of a nerd. I go to bed quite early. um, Unless I'm working on a project or writing something and I'm in the zone, yeah, I go to bed, have like big long sleeps, and then I like to wake up and I want to get, when I find a place to call home, I want to have my homestead and I want it to be somewhere where I get a perfect view of the sun going up and down so that I can sit on my porch and, drink my hot chocolate and watch the sun go down, or have hot lemonade, sorry, cold lemonade. And yeah. So anyway, I thought, I've been sitting here thinking, and I thought I would talk to you all about how to survive. Um, yeah, when okay, people seem to be freaking out. I don't understand it, but a lot of people are looking at me and thinking she can't have gone through all that she says she's gone through. Like, we know she's gone through all of that, but she doesn't look like she's gone through everything she's gone through. How is that even possible? And it's like, surviving positivity is a play on words. It's like a juxtaposed thing, because it's talking about, in the earth, like in the air that we breathe, in our surroundings, we have ion particles that get charged one way or the other, positively and negatively. And when the particles in your atmosphere are positively charged, it has a negative reaction on you. So it's surviving negativity. Surviving positivity is a play on your surviving negativity. And when people don't understand you because of the fact that you're a positive, peaceful person, surviving all of that, how you get through it. So I thought I would explain it all. Firstly, I don't give a shit. I don't. I'm Gen X, so like I'm made of tougher stuff. I was the baby of seven. I was never going to be the one that got all the attention. Um, Still to this day, my name is Debbie Lee Callahan, and my brothers and sisters only ever refer to me when I'm introduced to people as the baby. I'm 53, and this is the baby. I'm like 6 foot, 53, the baby, sort of thing. So, attention isn't something that I got growing up, so I don't need it. I'm also a Scorpio. I know who I am. I know where I'm going. I know who I want to be. And anyone who tries to tell me otherwise, I don't care. Because it's like, you're not me. You don't have to live my life. You don't have to survive my choices. I do. This is my path. I'm here for the learning experience. I'm trying to get it right. We're coming to the end of an old cycle. We are all getting ready to shed another scale from our dragon skin. And when Father Time comes in and, sweeps 2025 away, we need to be ready for it. And it requires having to prepare to shed that final scale, because I'm trying to appeal to people who work on an indigenous frame, as well as like the mythical as well, because I'm primarily talking to like nerds and geeks and dorks and weirdos and freaks, and that the ones that play D&D and laughing and that, the mythical minds, the creative minds. I'm speaking their language, and the indigenous, right? So we're all born dragons, and dragons don't have eggs. They give birth to gems like diamonds and topaz and emeralds and rubies, all of that, right? That's why our birth, whatever our star sign is, we all have like a corresponding gem. Mine is topaz. Like my sister Erin and my niece Amber, they're the diamond, right? So we're all born gems. We're all born dragons who are, because dragons are the totem of the mother and father, the grandparents, ancient ancestors, history, time, children, the mythical, magic, gold, like treasure. You're basically born turning into the dragon that you're meant to be to achieve your sole purpose of why you're here on earth. So it's like every year that you're alive, you have to shed scales to whittle yourself down so that you can manifest into who you were born to be, which is why the meaning of life is to find the meaning in life. What are you here for? Once you find your place in this world and you are at total peace with who you are, the life that you have, your mindset, your healing, that sort of thing, that's when you've found your place as a dragon. That's when you've become the dragon that you're meant to be, which is why in mythology there's so many different kinds of dragons. In my culture we call them taniwha, but they're sacred to us. To indigenous people, the dragons are very sacred to us. That's what I love about being indigenous and Irish especially, is that we don't give a crap about how we can live in this realm and the fairy realms and stuff at the same time. It's so surviving positivity. How have I survived all of this and come out so positive? It's because I choose to see the positive side of the experience. In the other video I was talking about, and I'm just going to have a sip of my coffee, about the power of will. You have to change your perspective. Changing your perspective changes your mind, and when you change your mind, when you choose to see things from a more positive perspective rather than a negative one, so that it doesn't impact your physical environment, because then it raises the positive ions in the atmosphere. So then you start attracting more crap, because like attracts like. So when you raise the vibration in a particle sense, like your physical surroundings, you draw negativity to you. And then you become weighed down by it all because you've chosen to hold on to things that are just constantly weighing you down. You have to make the decision to change the way you see things. And with my ex-husband and my husband, soon to be ex-husband, Martin, and Chris is the father of my children. Martin is the husband from New York, the one who left me for the child abuser and Peter. So how I choose to see it with the father of my children is, on his good days, he was incredible. He introduced me to the love of art and culture. I remember when we lived in Liverpool and he was off working, he works in the video games industry, and I remember sitting, he used to, like, he has a lot of books, and that was one of the things that I just loved about him, is that he was old school. He was never going to be one of these people that sat with a tablet and flicked through books. Like, he had shelves and shelves of books. I did too. Mine was all like Virginia Andrews' Flowers in the Attic series and James Herbert and like Unexplained Mysteries and the FBI book of the FBI A to Z book of death and Dr. Michael Barden's biography and all that sort of thing. But his was to do with like Leonardo da Vinci and like Picasso and all that. I think Picasso. But I remember I was bored, and I remember I read his book about Leonardo da Vinci, and it was just like my mind just went kapoo. It's like it unlocked something in me, and then he used to take me to all the art galleries. I got to see Rodin's, I got to see Matisse's, I got to see Raffaello, Da Vinci's, Van Gogh's, like because of him. Because of him, this foundation that I want to build is to nurture people like him when they were kids, the artists. He was an incredible artist and photographer. Oh my God, his photography used to make me weep. When he tapped into that creative side of him, it was like watching a master. And then he started getting into the whole pentagrams and Church of Leviathan t-shirts and I didn't want my boys around it. He turned to the dark side as I was stepping into God. And we became like the clash of two worlds. I can sit and think, okay, and I did, used to always think about the times when he'd get angry with me and put his foot down on the accelerator and threatened to drive all four of us off the road because he wanted to kill himself and stuff like that. I can sit in all of that, but I choose to sit in the fact that I learnt about whiskey because of him, like appreciating whiskey. I want to make my own whiskey. I want to have a whiskey distillery in Scotland and Ireland, like my own, and produce my own whiskey because of him. He made me, I'd only ever known things like Jack Daniels and that, but, he gave me an appreciation for, like, wines and whiskies and, cheeses and things like that. He was the best gift giver. Like, when it was your birthday and Christmas, it was his presents I looked forward to getting to the most because he's very sincere. He puts a lot of thought in. It's like he listens to you over the year and then puts the perfect gift together to give you for Christmas. He'd be like, oh my God, I didn't know you remembered I said that. Like that kind of thing. And he was incredibly funny on his good days. He's also the father of my two boys who are my absolute everything. So I would have put up with everything that man put me through 1,000 times over just for the fact that he gave me my two boys. My youngest is the epitome of a mighty warrior, I swear to God. I was thinking about it before. Hang on, I'm just going to have a sip. My dad, my baby, is so square. He's very like, he goes to the gym. He like, okay, one of the very first things that the doctors and nurses said about him after he was born was he's got pecs. He was born with pecs. He literally was born looking like he'd just been to the gym. They were like, holy crap, this baby's got pecs. He's got them now. He started going to the gym. He's built like a proper Māori warrior. He could play for like the Māori All Blacks or something. Like he's total broad shoulders, massive chest muscles, like small waist, big thighs. You know, like brawn, like proper. My dad, I swear to God, if he was alive, he would have been parading Gabriel around to everybody. This is my grandson. This is my moko. Look at him, look at him. Look at the size of him, he'd be saying. He could hunt kuni kuni without the dogs. He'd be parading Gabriel around because, like, honestly, God, if he decided to try out for the All Blacks, I don't even think he'd have to pass a test. They'd just look at him and go, yeah, done. But very, he's so smart, he's scary, like a Bond villain, kind of evil genius. But he loves animals. Oh, God bless him. He's got the best sense of humour, though. He was like my shadow. He used to stick to me like glue. Yeah, so that's my baby. And he's got my dimple and everything on my chin. He's just, everyone says, oh my God, he just looks just like you. So, and then there's my firstborn, Thomas, who's like 10 foot 900, who's just like the perfect Celt picked Viking. He's like a Viking warrior. He's like a warrior knight. He's going to be around about 6'9" by the time he stops growing. That's what they said. Anyway, somewhere between 6'9" and 7 foot. He's already about 6'6" now, and he's 17 next month. But when you look at him, it's like he could play a Viking, he could play a Celt or a Pict in any of our movies. He also is, he does sword training, and he's creative. He's the writer. Gabriel is like the architectural engineer, and Thomas is like the creative writer. He was my writing partner. He helped me write a lot of stuff. He helps me with my toy merchandise ideas and all that as well. He's the one that whenever I was stuck, he would know just the way to fix it, that it just made everything flow perfectly. And I know that they've been upset with me because it's taken so long for us to get to this life that I said was coming, but I don't think they quite understand what I've had to be up against to even survive getting this far. I've had to stand up against prime ministers and presidents and social media companies who hacked my accounts and messed with my life. Police departments trying to set me up, trying to frame me for things that had nothing to do with me, and the lawyers taking the police's side. I had, the only way I can get justice is if I bring the law involved. But I had the law working against me because of the prime ministers and presidents that I've been having to deal with on my own. So it's taken a little bit longer because it turns out there wasn't a single person other than one sister and three nephews who had my back. When I was locked away. Everybody else took my ex-husband's side because they believed him, because he played the whole Davo perfectly. And so surviving positivity, surviving being around someone that dark and negative, I chose to focus on the light. I was working on my products, I was working on my food, and then watching my boys' reactions. My baby was supposed to be like my business partner when it came to the food. He was the one that like critiqued my food and helped me like perfect my recipes and stuff. I focused on the light, and that's how I survived being around him. I During having to do my investigation is when I realised he had been starting trying to poison me around about 2018, and my eldest was the one that said to me, "Do you remember how Dad used to always just randomly find weed?" And I'll be like, "Oh my God, yeah," because the night that he got me locked up, it was the weed that had stuff in it, and I've even got the text message from the person admitting that it had stuff in it, that it was special. And how was it going? And it's like they needed to monitor how my health was before they then slipped the cocaine onto the pizza. And then I was like, I took photos of the first time he found the weed under the bush at night. How the hell do you find weed under a bush, at the base of a tree in autumn at night? But I took a photo of it. So then I started gathering evidence, and I said to the police, I've got videos of where I'm talking about my word slurring and all of that sort of thing. And what it did was it triggered my hunting skills. And then I started going further and further down the investigation route, that I then kind of fell into this Donald Trump, Elon Musk human trafficking thing, Keir Starmer human trafficking thing, the plot to take the monarchy down. So he triggered my survival skills in a way that I didn't just have to learn how to fight to survive. I ended up becoming the hunter. It's like he threw me to the wolves and I came back leading the pack. So I choose to see the positive. I choose to see the good things that came out of it. Um, and then, of course, there's surviving the people who are drawn to your light but hate you for it. The trolls under the bridge. Just don't give a shit. Like, it's generally, that's exactly what it is. Just don't give a shit. Like, they're not you. We're here for the human experience. I was saying in the other video, we have to come back over and over and over and over and over again until we get it right. And then once we get it right and we've perfected who we were meant to be as like souls on a learning experience, we get to choose what we become. We become our final dragon form, so to speak. Because then you have complete control over your whole conscious evolution. You become your own God. And so someone going, "Oh my God, everything you're saying is over my head, so I'm going to react negatively," that's not your problem. They're just, you're triggering something in them that they don't want to have to deal with in themselves, and that's not your problem, that's theirs. So just send it back with love and light, because that's their journey, not yours. If you start worrying about what people say or think, you're allowing them to dump their baggage onto you. And it's like, no, you've got to get rid of your baggage. That's the whole point of going through the eye of the needle. You got to dump the baggage. And so these people dump their baggage on you because they don't want to have to deal with whatever it is you're triggering in them, your confidence, the fact that you can survive things so easy. But it's because I examine everything from all sides, then I make a final decision, and then I'm the one that chooses to see things from a different perspective in a way that doesn't have me carrying anyone else's baggage. My throat's a little bit thing today because of, obviously, from the constant vomiting. The bile destroyed my throat. So if you ever hear my throat, I sound like JFK Jr. Oh, God. Oh, my God, will I get into trouble with God for saying that? I wasn't. Sorry. Yeah, it's as simple as that. Don't give a shit. If you've got bullies, just don't give a shit. You're triggering something in them that they don't want to have to look at. And it's usually, if you're a freaky geek, nerd, dork, or weirdo like me and my lot, it's usually because they know that you're something special, that you're destined for something greater. When you look at someone and you know that they're a nerd or a dork or whatever, you know that they're going to end up being like the next Bill Gates and Elon Musk and that triggers insecurities in people. That sort of thing. That's exactly what it is. So don't carry their baggage. You just keep focusing on what it is that you want to be in life. The signs, for a lot of people who can't see a clear path or a clear answer as to what it is they're meant to be in life, regardless of whether you're a high funk or not, the clue will always lie in the things that made you happy when you were a child. Us as children, show us what we're supposed to be as adults that will make us the most happiest. For me, I used to like play talkback radio. Me and my sister would record ourselves like being a radio station, and we would set up the house like a TV set and play. We used to have this. It was like Shortland Street if you're from New Zealand, or it was based around. It was like a TV soap based around a hospital, basically. Maybe it was because of my mum used to watch Days of Our Lives a lot. I remember the bathroom was the X-ray room. Yeah, so I've been writing books ever since I became an auntie, children's books. One of the first books I ever wrote was for my niece Tui, who's also my goddaughter, and it was how the hedgehog got its spikes. From what I understand, I think she said she still has it, or that. Yeah, I don't know. See, narcissistic abuse, it messes with your memory, but I am remembering all the lovely things about my life because I'm choosing to see things the other way. It's like all the negativity's melted away. I don't see it anymore because I've dropped the baggage. So I don't see that anymore. I see the good things because I choose to. But when you sit and wallow in the misery, when all you have to do is change your perspective, it changes your mind in a way that once you see things in a more positive light, what it was that was eating away at you just kind of like falls, but like it just falls away. And it's like if you imagine that from a dragon flying up into the sky, going as high as it can, and the further it goes, the more scales it sheds. Every scale that it sheds is another year that you're born. And if you're not prepared, if you haven't prepared yourself mentally and emotionally for what it is that you're about to become after you have your ascension, it can be really painful. It's basically trying to pull the scales off the dragon before it's ready to do it naturally. You know, like if you've ever had, I don't know, like maybe a bit of your toenails cut or something, and instead of just filing it down, you pick it, like you rip the nail off and then it bleeds because like you pulled it off before it had the chance to figure itself out naturally, sort of thing, like it's painful. It's hard to look at these things. It's hard to decide to have to let things go that you were so drawn to in a toxic way because if that's all you're around, it's all you know. And that's what I'm trying to protect the children from, especially when they come to my school. The thing is, as a civilization, as no country in the world can call themselves humane or civilized if they still have children dying. Other than accidents, we should not be having babies and as parents burying our children. Other than accidents. If we as nations have got parents who are burying their children, we've done something wrong. We've gone wrong somewhere. Because the ones that were smart enough to get off this crazy carousel ride in our solar system and that, the ones that figured it out, they stopped fighting wars and they stopped the infant child mortality because they created civilizations based on this is for the children. We are creating a world for the next generation. We will do everything we can to keep our children safe because they are the seed that we plant that takes our civilization forward. And nobody on the earth has figured that out yet. Especially the mothers that are sending their babies to war. And that brings me to another point. Yesterday I started writing a movie called The War Babies. And I don't know if my son wants to, I don't know if my sons want to join me when this is over. They might decide to go and live with the Auntie Erin or something, but I'm not going to stop until Chris is held accountable. You can trust and believe. I choose to see the positive things in life, but it's not going to stop me from getting justice. I deserve justice after everything that he allowed the mother of their children to go through, after everything he put the mother of his children through. He has to be held accountable. Same with Martin, same with all of them. And I'm not going to stop until that happens, whether I have my son's support or not, because I'm not going to be told that I'm someone I'm not. I'm not, like I don't give a shit about what people think. If they don't know my story, if they don't know the situation, like, you have no right to judge, so just sit down and shut up like I don't care. But where who I am matters to me is when it comes to the people who are supposed to be the protectors of our communities. And when you've got doctors and police officers and lawyers and judges and politicians targeting one person because she's a threat to their industry or a threat to their corruption, that needs to be looked at. And so I'm banging the drum and blowing my whistle and letting people know what's going on, not just so that I can be heard, but so that people like King Charles will finally wake up and realise, holy crap, like my country is corrupt. From the NHS to the police department, they're all corrupt. None of these people have my country's best interests at heart. So let's tear it down and start again. That sort of thing. I choose to, excuse me, instead of thinking like, hang on, the monarchy's going to be abolished. People are, I saw this meme on X about a a quote from King Charles saying, "Fox hunting is romantic," and the quote being like of the post, "This is our king. Remember, this is our king," or something like that. And the first thing I thought was, yeah, but isn't it funny how now his family are the foxes and the British people are the hunters? So the tables have turned. But instead of thinking we're about to lose the monarchy, I choose to think if I just keep talking long enough, it'll finally wake the king up, and then he'll do the right thing and make the call and put an end to it. And it can all be torn down and start again. Because I'm also, I'm one of these people, because I'm a Scorpio and we rule regeneration. We're literally born with the totem of Phoenix. So tower moments, I thrive on pressure because then it gives me a chance to put my thinking cap on and problem solve, because I love to problem solve. I like to smooth out the glitches. So yeah, so I'm one of these people that's all for just tear it down and start again. Which is why you see I constantly keep changing the names of my products and books and all that sort of thing. Because I haven't perfected it. It hasn't found its final form. The stuff that I've created hasn't found its final form yet. Once it's all found its final form, that's when it gets put down in legal documents as for patents and copyrights and trademarks and all that sort of thing. Once it gets to the point where it's written down legal, that's when it's found its final form. So yeah, I always keep saying to people, just bear in mind that this might not be the final title, or things are subject to change. Never more truer words have been spoken than with Andre's Dragon, because when I originally wrote that, it was about my husband Martin, and now it's ended up being about my firstborn son and his journey to self-discovery and learning to take his place on this throne beside his mother, because he's got a lot more pressure on him when it comes to having control over my empire than my youngest, because Thomas is my firstborn. He's my next of kin for everything, so it's him they're going to go to first for everything. So long after I'm gone, he's the one that's going to be in control of more so than my youngest, although my youngest would be VP. If Thomas became president, he'd be VP. But yeah, all the pressure falls on my boy, my firstborn. So I know who I've raised, though. I just need to rescue them, give them a safe space to build their own environment. I just know that in the ideal world, when I get justice, we could just go off, the three of us, to wherever it is that we're going to build, and then everything they're going to want is there. For the video games, getting involved. See, because that's one of the things as well that my ex-husband Chris, taught me. I spent over 20 years observing the video games industry, and I'm going to have my own video games company. We've already designed quite a few video games, and obviously the more foundations I can build, we're passing the work on. So one foundation will make one game, another foundation will make another game, another foundation will make another game, and then we can all get it done together and get it up on the servers all at the same time, and yeah, all that sort of thing. So if I'm never blessed enough to have more than one foundation, okay, it's going to take us maybe 30, 40 years to get the stuff that I've created out, but at least they'd be employed. I might not live to see everything that I created being made, but at least they would have projects there to see them through for the next 40 years. But otherwise, yeah, the more foundations I can build, the more games companies I can set up in other countries and that sort of thing, because I don't just have to build foundations, I can just put my businesses in other countries um, on the provision that, the kids that are signed up to the program, they might not necessarily be from other countries, but they'll be from that area where they would be going into classes to learn how to make the video games and stuff. And that's where I think probably that and my broadcasting studio would probably be where Gabriel would spend a lot of time, and the tank seekers, war babies. I just haven't decided whether I want to base it on a real World War II event or a fictitious one. But yeah, we're going to need tanks big enough for children to fit into, where it doesn't look disproportionate. So I think those kind of departments would be where Gabriel hung around, whereas with Thomas it would be maybe costumes and performance and writing, coming up with and like acting and performing and directing, and he was born for the spotlight, that one. Thomas, yeah, he stands out, man. He's beautiful to look at. My boys are, they say that a mother's love is blind, but no. Ever since my babies were born, literally, with Thomas, he was so magnetic when he was born. You would have thought I'd given birth to baby Jesus. His good looks and big cheeks became like swept through hospitals to the point where I had doctors from other hospitals, I'm not even joking, hand to God, come to visit me at the hospital I had him in just to look at him because people could not stop talking about. He said I had to see if it was true. What they were saying about this baby is true. That was Thomas. We've walked down the street and teenagers have been going, oh my God, what a beautiful baby. Cars tooting, awesome kids. Like, he's magnetic, and he's got like flowing locks and giant blue eyes, and yeah, and Thomas is, that Gabriel is, even Tom says he's pretty. Like he's got sort of very, how do you put it? He's like built like a brick, you know what, a brick poop house. But he's got very, he looks like me. But he's got brown hair and brown eyes. And I've got, we'd be the same brown if I didn't dye my hair black. But yeah, I've got blue eyes, he's got brown. He's got my dimple and everything. He's absolutely stunning to look at. He could be a model. Gabriel could 100% be a model, whereas Thomas could be, like a movie screen icon. Gabriel could be a model. His face is just beautiful. They're just beautiful. People say all the time. The nurse, the midwife, after I had Gabriel, said, something tells me I need to remember his name because I have a feeling I'm going to be seeing him on the news one day for something incredible. So people have known since my kids were born that they were destined for something special. It's just that their mums had a lot of demons she's had to fight to clear a path. So tried to keep them focused on writing and creating and imaginating and all of that so that they didn't notice all the battles that were going on behind them. But yeah, so anyway, so that's what you do. It really is surviving positivity. It's all in how you choose to see it. What are you prepared to take on? What are you prepared to take on board? And what are you prepared to let go of? And some of the things you have to let go of are painful to let go of, but you have to do it for the sake of your own peace, for the sake of your own peace of mind, for the sake of your own sanity, for the sake of your own mental wellness. Because if you don't get it right in this life, you have to come back again. And if you come back again, it's going to be even harder. So deal with it now. Get it all done with now so that when you die, You have zero regrets about how you lived this life. You don't get it right from the minute you're born. From the minute you're born, you're having to, it's given you the opportunity to start with a clean slate. Birth is. And it's all based on the people that you have around you to help raise you. But once you get to the point where, as children, where you become aware of your surroundings and your individual choices and your friends and all of that sort of thing, and you've experienced the negative things around your family and all that sort of thing. That's when we're supposed to be, like as you're entering into puberty, that's when you're supposed to be. That's when you're expected to start making the choices that aren't going to turn into something that festers as adults later on. But if you're not around the people who are trying to teach that to you, then when you go through your puberty, when you come out the other side, you're a moth chasing a moth to the flame instead of a butterfly off into the sun, flying towards the sun. So at my foundation, I wanted to take kids from around about 10, 11, unless they were sort of quite mature, maybe 9, but I wanted to start taking them from about 10, 11, because that's when the kids are at that age where they're just starting to step into who they're going to be when they come out the other side of puberty, because in God's eyes, and in the laws of universal karma, you're not technically born until you come out of puberty. So once we stop going through puberty, that's when God technically sees you as being born. Other than that, you're like an earth angel. You're like an unformed, physical, celestial being, the pure and innocent, angels. And then you take your physical form once you step out of puberty. And so I'm trying to protect the angels, the earth angels, who are here to, because these are the ones that are going to end up being the next Mozarts and Van Hoffs and Charles Dickens and all of that, if I've done it right. Or in the very least, by the time they leave, they know how to deal with their life and their situation and what to do. And our gates are never going to be closed to any of the kids that come to us. Hang on, sit. So, yeah. So I survive positivity by focusing on the positive. I just keep focused on what's ahead of me. I don't stop running the marathon long enough to... I'll take the sip from your cup that you're offering, but don't expect me to run with the cup. I'll leave the baggage behind, do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm just focused on that finish line. And that's how I survive it. And people can't understand why I'm so positive, but the thing is, that's God. You can't be negative around God. You wouldn't withstand the power of His love. The ultimate strength of God's love is so powerful that you have to be physically prepared to handle it, because it decalcifies everything. The second that you step into the light of creation, which is God, to me the word God means creator, like to create. And the atom creates everything, which is why we call them atom, but just say God, the creator. That which creates my conscious universe with my help, obviously, with all of our help. We're all in it together. We shape what we create. But yeah, when I first found Jesus, I spent months crying every time I mentioned Him, even now sometimes, because it was such a humbling experience. And That was bad enough. But see, when you get to a point in your ascension where you actually, like, holy crap, this is all real, when you get to that realization of, like, this isn't even a joke. When I started out as delving into physics and all of that, it was to prove that God didn't exist. And now I'm a reverend because it got to the point where the science spoke for itself and I couldn't deny the evidence. I couldn't deny it. It was like, holy crap, he's real. Like, this whole thing is real. Once I saw it the way it was meant to be seen, and then everything fell away and everything fell into place. And God's love is so pure that you can't carry any of the shadow up there with you because it's not possible. It's not possible for, the demons inside the minds of unhealed people and that to reach that kind of frequency, which is why they get irritated by it. So when they see your light shining, it's blinding to them. And it's irritating to them. And then you know what moths are like when they chase the light, and it's like the bug zappers. That's exactly what it is. But that's not your fault. The moth could make the decision not to fly into the bug zapper. It's because it let the draw of the false light blind it into thinking it was making a good decision, not realizing it was walking into its own fate because it didn't have free will. Like addictions and fetishes, and you can make the decision not to do that. You can make the decision not to hurt yourself or have another drink or kill someone. It's your decision. He made me do it. No, you pulled the trigger, not him. Like that sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? Accountability is one thing, one of those painful things that you have to deal with when you're ascending. You're expected to take accountability for all your negative actions, owning up to things, admitting things. Yeah, I did do that. But then also defending yourself when you've been accused of things that you didn't do. Finding the balance. Remember I was saying about equal and opposite, finding the balance, defending yourself and standing in your truth, but also as well taking accountability for the things that you got wrong. I've worked so hard since 2015 to make up for everything that I got wrong. And I hope that when I build my foundation, and I pray that the boys want to come with me when I do, once they actually see what I was doing it for, then they can be at peace. Aha, she did it for us. She did all this for us. Even the airsofting business, it's all for them. I did it all for them, for my two boys. So, yeah, that's what I live for. That's what I keep focused on, for the day when my boys can look at me and go, oh, she did this for us. I was creating the magic in the bottle to keep them distracted from the fact that their indigenous fairy mother was having her wings pulled off. She had to keep growing her wings back. So anyway, so that's how you survive positivity. It's all to do with the power of will, people. If you worry about what other people think and they're not people that you see, and that's the thing, if you find out something about someone you once respected, it's okay to just let it go. That's one is about pulling the scales off before it has time. It's okay to let it go. Now you know the truth about them. Just let it go. Rejection is God's protection. If something is removed from your life, It's for one of two reasons. It's no longer constructive, it's destructive, or it's a lesson. So it's like you go in a straight line together and then you separate to go different ways around a roundabout, but once you finish the cycle, you join the same road again. That. Um, yeah. So I'm going to go now. So that, yeah, so that's what you do. That's how you survive it. That's why I survive it, because I choose to see the positive. And in regards to everybody in the legal system and government and that didn't have my back, my God, did it sharpen my skills. I saw stuff come out of me with my physics and that even I wasn't expecting. I got to grow and expand with my physics in a way that militaries and governments would fall over themselves to have access to if I could train soldiers and agents and that to have my kind of level of ability and that we'd have super governments like in ways that would just like the sort of thing that would be in a Marvel or DC comic movie kind of super soldiers or super agents, but I choose to use it for creativity and manifesting movies and kids shows and you know all these countries that are banning the internet now for kids under the age of 16, um, they'll have plenty to do with my stuff. We'll keep them busy. They might not have the access to the internet, but they'll have access to like my movies and video games and stuff like that they can play. We'll keep them busy until their countries wake up and change the laws and get rid of their leaders and that. But anyway, so I think that's it. I think that's all. That's all the advice. Just changing your perspective changes your mind. When you change your mind, it unlocks doors that you didn't even know were there, and it becomes like fractals of possibilities of where could this be going. Like it becomes very exciting, and then you choose the path you go down. It's really exciting. Give me a supernatural life any day. See, I'm single, so all I really care about at this point is just being with a man who doesn't think I'm weird. You know, loves me just for exactly who I am. I might talk to birds and argue with trees and bow down to squirrels and things like that, but that's my Indigenous right, and no one's going to tell me that being Indigenous is a sin or a crime. That's just who I am. The Irish do it, the Welsh do it, the Scottish do it, so I don't care. So he needs to be okay with the fact that I'm going to drum into the water and, to say hi to things in the water, but that's my Indigenous right. So but then he also needs to be okay with the fact that sometimes I do physics that, because I can't do maths, so I can only do my physics by, I'm a visual thinker, so I use language in order to explain my physics. And it comes across as weird to everybody else, but it's the only. If I could do maths, I wouldn't be having to write all these stories and books and games and make all these posts and document my dreams and stuff. I'd just do it all in maths. But I can't because I have like number autism or something. I can remember long numbers. Like I could remember like a code that had 50 or 60 numbers in it completely, but get me to do maths and my brain becomes like alphabet soup. Yeah, so when you do advanced theoretical and astrophysics and that, but you can't do maths, what do you do? Well, my brain said, make her a writer, make her an orator, and she can do it that way. So here I am. I'm a unique physicist, but what can I do? It's just the way God made me. But it's because I need to appeal to the high functioning mind, and they're the writers and the artists and creators and that, so I do it in visual and written form because I'm trying to appeal to the minds of the writers and the artists and the programmers, and you know what I mean. So Yeah, so that's me. So I had to explain that because I don't understand people's reactions to me and how I'm so chill about everything that's happened. And it's like, well, what's the alternative? Do you want me to be miserable and suffer? Well, there would be people. Do you want me to be miserable and suffering and full of angst and addicted to something and hurting myself and making negative choices that impacted my children in the future? And like, is that because that's the alternative? Drinking myself to death, drugging myself to death, full of woes, not washing, not clean, like just wallowing in my own self pity. No, thank you. I'd rather write books and movies and stories about my children and for my children, so that we can get children coming in and helping us make them, so that everyone can enjoy what we make. I focus on the technically negative. I focus on the positive. I choose to focus on the light in front of me and not the dark behind me. I don't stop to check what's behind me because I'm too busy focusing on what's ahead of me. I make the decision to just focus on the light of creation. I'm making that choice. Nobody else can make that choice for me. I don't look down and I don't stop for no one. And I don't answer to anyone. I follow the law. I follow judicial law and universal law. But I don't answer to no one other than God and my ancestors. So, okay, so I'm going to go now. I shall speak to you later. Ka kite anō. Mwah.